What's up, guys? Welcome to the One Realm Podcast. I'm your host, Diego, alongside my co-host, Thomas.
What's up?
And we're going to do a short one today, but I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one because we're going to be talking about the 6 things, so 3 each, that we are most anticipating over, I guess, the next few years. I guess you can kind of take into consideration that it is taken into account that it will be a while before another Mortal Kombat game comes out, so it's not like most anticipated for 2020. It's, in the near future for Mortal Kombat. So, since this was your idea, I'll go ahead and let you start off.
Combat Pack 2.
Okay, fair play. That's pretty much the same thing as my number 3. Go ahead and elaborate, and I'll kind of tell you my side of it.
Pretty much I said Combat Pack 2 just because of the fact that MK11 is slowly dying, unfortunately. I was looking at a tweet the other day, today actually. I think it was made the other day, and it's about like a year ago. We were watching the me and you actually were actually watching the reveal event for MK11, and we had so high hopes for it, but it didn't. I always felt like it was missing something. Even from back then, I felt like it was missing something. And I don't know, that could be characters, that could be certain gameplay mechanics. But at this point, too, it's like you kind of just want something new so you can kind of refresh the game. Maybe they can do the thing that everyone's asked for years and, I don't know, add some DLC story pieces to it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I pretty much agree with that 100%. What I actually had written down was see if they're actually going to add the desired MK characters to MK11. Because we all know we want Fujin, we want Rain, etc., etc. Are they actually going to add them, or are they just going to continue in Combat Pack 2 with, adding guest characters and just kind of adding people that we don't actually want? Because, Sindel's okay, but did anybody particularly care about having her or Nightwolf? Not really, in my opinion. I don't think so anyway. Shang Tsung, fine, but, there is really just a huge lack of the characters that we've been asking for a long time, and I kind of just want to see what they're going to do with them and if they're actually going to bring them in.
Yeah. Well, that's to me essentially on characters. So far, everything has lined up to what the leak back and the Switch got into the data feed mine, and they the intros match up with the way they said the characters matched up before they released everyone. And 2 people on my list was Shiva and Fujin, so maybe come back after they do it, but I know they gotta make money, but also it's like the route they've been going, like, are you really in a position to demand for people to pay for something like this now?
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, my interest in the game is pretty much completely dead at this point. It's just getting worse and worse. I actually get stats for no reason right now. I don't know if you get the same thing. I get emails from NetherRealm, and it seems like pretty much nobody's playing because a couple weeks ago I did like 1 tower, and it was because there was it was Christmas time because they had those special costumes. I think it was like Cetrion had one. So I didn't even do the entire tower at a time. I just did, I think, 2 out of the 3 challenges, and I was in like the top 40% or something like that of people who played towers at times, and that was me doing literally 2 out of 3 challenges for 1 tower for 1 group of challenges. So I think this game is pretty much dead, and as you mentioned, like for them to go and add in more guest characters or add people that nobody really cares for, it's going to be hard for them to get people to actually spend that money. So will they spend the money to develop more than Shiva or whatever?
Say game down. Because we don't want to just see characters just to see characters. We want to see them for a story aspect as well. But
yeah, I agree with that, man. It's pretty dumb that in pretty much every other genre that I can think of video games, DLC is generally going to be attached to some kind of story element, and yet in fighting games, that's just absolutely not the case. I don't know if it is in other fighting games.
Fighting games is the case.
Like what? Yeah.
There are a lot of things,
Okay.
I believe. Like, if you don't have some characters, or some characters that are DLC, they started on 6. They did put like a story element to it.
Okay.
like new cutscenes.
So it is doable. It's not like it's some kind of crazy innovative thing. It is doable.
And I will say this: I do say it's a little bit harder because um, the yes, right? Because that's what I said back a year ago. It's like if they're going to do DLC, I want it to be um, they have a part to play.
Yeah. Not just randomly being there.
Because now you have to create a whole new part without retconning your own story you just made and fit it in there. And there wasn't like they tied up all loose ends on this one, so it's like there's no room for editing really,
Pretty much, yeah.
or without retconning.
What happened, happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like so, they tied up the whole thing with Sonya and Cassie when Sonya died, so close with that. Johnny Cage, Sonya. Only loose ends I can say I can see were uh, older Johnny getting shot, and we don't know what happened to him after that. Um, on the evil side, where's the board now? Which now we know they just go back in time and everything's reversed. But there's a lot of like loose ends or more bits to be desired.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, at this point, I kind of think they're fighting a losing battle regardless. So I don't honestly see them investing the resources to make to kind of like you said, add people who aren't already in the MK11 story and give them kind of their own thing to kind of show that they were at least doing something in the background. Not necessarily. That's extremely important to the story, but saying that they were actually there. So I don't know. Like honestly, for me, it's more of a matter of are they going to do the Combat Pass 2 for the right reasons, or is it just going to be one last attempt to make it, MK11 a cash cow? That's kind of where I'm sitting there right now.
Yeah. One thing I could see this working better would be like MKX, where you had the whole Outworld Civil War, where we pretty much glossed over that completely. We still know how Malia got the amulet from how they carried the amulet from Raiden. Like that would have worked so well. And also, for example, Tanya was in the story mode, and she was also DLC. So it is doable. They know
Yeah.
they can just choose not to.
Yeah. Were there any NPCs in the story mode as like main
People you could,
relevant
people you could
characters?
fight but weren't able to play as.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I couldn't think of any.
The only thing I can say that was NPC, because NPC doesn't mean just like you can fight them as well. It just means like they're in the story.
No, I mean like
Not
that actually, you do have at least like a fight scene with them.
Oh no, there was no one like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. Like this game at this point is just kind of completely dead. I think they completely shot their load way too early. Like they should have just waited. You know what I mean? They should have just. And of course, it's probably Warner Brothers pushing them to make they get to release the game sooner rather than later. But
Also, a lot of people complained about it too, about not being at E3 and expecting it. So that's on both. That's on Warner Brothers and our faults from that one for
I
wanting
mean,
a game. Like
fair enough.
just because there's a pattern doesn't mean it has to be that way.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm not gonna take the blame for that. Like, it's one thing to want the game and to be vocal about it, but it's another thing to release a product that you know isn't 100% ready. I mean, it's honestly like in most markets they can get sued for something like that if they release something claiming that it's ready and they sell it for full price, and in some cases, for very big amounts of money, and it's simply it's not like there's a lot of things about this game that aren't actually functional. Like I don't know if I mean like they work in the sense that things happen on screen, but when the game launched, there were plenty of things that were broken. So, I mean,
Let me
yeah.
ask you this.
Sorry, what?
Let me ask you this though, real quick.
Okay.
If we saw how the reaction was when we had no information about DLC up until, um, realistically, it was up until August, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people at that point was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just don't want to take my money. I got to waste all this money." We felt that way too. The
Yeah.
question is, how would we feel if they announced at the last second that a game was being delayed? Because, for example, that's exactly what's happening with. Well, that's exactly what happened with that Avengers game we were talking about a couple of months ago.
With Cyberpunk.
I'm not sure what's the story on it. I haven't done much research. I just found out this past Friday, but
Yeah.
it's now delayed until September instead of May.
Yeah. I'm fine with it, honestly. Like I'm really really excited for that game, but I'm I'm pretty much fine with it. I mean, if it's for for the better of the game, for the better of the people that's gonna be playing it, I feel like it's fine. You know, games coming out late or being delayed a little bit, that's it's not a problem for me. Unless it's a situation like say Crackdown, well, where it just continues to be pushed back and pushed back. That means that there's clearly something wrong with it, like something huge wrong with it, and they're having to rebuild certain assets, and it always
I
turns
mean,
out to be a pretty shit game like Duke Nukem. But if they're just pushing it a couple months, it seems like they're just kind of perfecting things, and I have faith in CD Projekt Red, so we'll see what happens there. But I don't know, man. Like it's what's the catch not the catchphrase? What's the little cliche? Um, Foresight is 2020, whatever it is, whatever it is.
hindsight 2020.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, that. And I mean, it is what it is, man. Like looking back on it right now, if they just said the game's not ready, it's gonna take us another 7 months, 8 months before we can release this, and confidently start working on DLC or have DLC coming out relatively soon, then okay. But they just kind of put it out there, and when they put it out there, it looked like it was all good. How are we supposed to know that there are issues behind the scenes? Nobody mentioned it before the game. There were no mentions that there were problems behind the scenes before the game actually came out. So I don't know. That's just how I feel. I think it's on them. All this is on them, to be
It's
honest.
catch 22.
It is what?
The catch 22. Like on one hand, there is like we're on the game as soon as possible so we can play the next installment of this game. We're looking forward to it because we had such high hopes for something that we know what it was yet. And then the other hand, it's like we know, like I said, hindsight 2020. It's like, all right, well, I kind of wish they would delay this. I wish they would have changed this to this. I mean, at the end of the day, like the game, it happened, and now we just have to push through and just see what's next. Now, granted, that might hurt sales in the next game. It might hurt sales going forward with other things. But it's like back to what we said, a couple of things like we'll get to that on like we get to like closer to our next topic, so that's kind of what I can go back to this on. But
Okay.
the whole point is just like I said that we of course we said we wish the game would get delayed now for that, but then a lot of people were already upset. We were already upset with DLC being delayed. Imagine how we would have felt if the game got delayed longer. And I know how I am. I'm impatient. I was impatient at that point, waiting for the game. So I would have been pissed if we had like, oh, we came up with all this content, which we didn't because we kept taking breaks. But like, you come up with all this content, it's like, well, now the game's delayed. Like, well, we ran out of stuff to talk about now.
Well, I mean, fair play, but here's the thing, man. Like they didn't announce it at E3. They didn't announce it anywhere. They just kind of out of the blue popped. They just kind of mentioned like, oh, something's gonna pop up soon enough. So, like, if they hadn't said anything, I guess people would have been more upset. But I think that the anticipation would have still been there. The excitement would have still been there. And if they'd have just waited and put out a better game, then it would have been better off. But at the end of the day, man, I think the game is what it is. I think that really the biggest delay isn't necessarily with the main game itself, it's with the DLC. They simply released the game before they were ready to have a good DLC project and in terms of developing the DLC characters, and that's where the big
Well,
issue is in terms of.
well, that and also I say like for example the release date of it. I think they did announce it at the Game Awards. I think they should have just like said 2019, not April of next year. Like I think they kind of like were on crunch time already At that point, they were already, but it's like, man, they kind of put a lot on their plate. And they had to get a lot of things fixed, which wasn't truly fixed. But
Yeah, but I mean, as far as I know, usually the way it works is DLC is already well underway in terms of development by the time the game releases. So usually, once the game releases, they already have a lot of the assets already done. So, in my opinion, they just kind of Warner Brothers pushed them to make it, because I saw the amount of excitement that was there. I think they, NetherRealm probably knew that there was going to be a solid 7-8 months until the game was actually ready to release. But Warner Brothers pushed them to do it then, especially because next year, or this year I should say, there's going to be the new consoles, and of course developers know about this early because of course they have to work on the new tech and stuff like that. So I figure Warner Brothers saw this as like the last good opportunity for them to make a huge amount of money on this console generation, because a lot of people are going to be like, okay, they're going to be saving money for the next one, so maybe Mortal Kombat doesn't sell for a lot of these people. And yeah, I think it was more of a business decision than a well, we want to please our fans by releasing the game early kind of decision. So, I mean, they don't really get any sympathy from me personally, but I guess it's just me kind of being pissed off at them and cynical.
just for the record, no, like we're not pissed off in NetherRealm.
No, no, no,
Well,
no, no,
of course.
absolutely not. It's all Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I make that clear. Like
Yeah, yeah,
NetherRealm does some shit that I don't like, but um, the whole business aspect of it, that's not on them. That is literally on Warner Brothers.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. As always, it's the major companies that fuck things up for what we really love. All right,
Understand
so
that.
shall
Let's
we
go to the
move
next.
on to number two?
Yeah, that's 17 minutes on just that alone.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I'll go ahead and tell you my number two because you started off with number three. I'll go ahead and do
and
my
go
number
ahead.
two. And for me, I want to see a Shaolin monk style game, preferably with different characters from Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Of course, the first things that come to mind are Scorpion and Sub Zero. Maybe I don't know, a new Special Forces. I don't know. I'm just kidding there. No, but yeah, I would love to see a new special Shaolin monks kind of game. I think it'd be a great way to kind of diversify from the recent games, which have pretty much all been the same in terms of story mode and stuff like that. It's pretty much always been the same formula. So a change in scenery and a different take on it would be, I think, a very very um, very welcome addition to the series.
Right, and you've never played Shaman Monk before,
I still
right?
haven't, no.
Yeah. No, that note too, like, because I'm in the middle of playing it again nowadays. First of all, I want to put it like this: I have still never beaten that full game. Let's
And
just put that right there.
like you've never beaten the main story, or you just never completed it.
Yes,
Okay, so
because
both.
the game itself is just a story, really. Like, there's
Okay,
a versus mode, but it's not like a arcade versus mode. The only thing you get plus that is the story mode.
okay,
But the the last fight you have one last thing of health, and it's you versus Shang Tsung, Kentaro, then Shao Kahn. There's
okay.
cutscenes between, but you don't get more life or anything. Well, you get a chance, you get like a little thing of extra life, but you still make that last. Or even if they just remastered that game for me, that would be good too. Because at least from there, we could. I think if we had good enough internet connection, we could probably do an online story mode. Actually, beat that. That'd be a good stream, really.
That'd be fun. That's for damn sure. But I mean, I think they've kind of mentioned it that they'd like to do that. So hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. I haven't even checked to see if it's backwards compatible on Xbox One. I've
Oh
never
no,
checked to
it's
see
not.
that. It's not. Nah, that sucks. That'd be kind of
Almost
cool.
no backwards compatible on Xbox.
Yeah, that sucks. But
Maybe PlayStation, but definitely not on Xbox. Trust me, I
yeah,
know that right now.
yeah. You've checked for sure.
MK9 is still not backwards compatible on
That's true.
Xbox One.
And that was a pretty big game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. What's your number two?
Number two would have to go on the lines of, well, I guess I don't know. I mean, about this my idea. I didn't have it, but um, I know. I just want to see more and more of my side projects, and just not from Warner Brothers like doing other things that's like not like their movies or anything like that. I'm talking about like um, 'cause we get more from like a huge community, and we're part of it. Nethercast is part of it. Russ, Uncaged, Super, Dynasty. Um, hell, even Telekin, the Combat Kids guy.
Yeah,
That they're all part of the community, and it's like a lot of people have a lot of good ideas that I think just get swept under the rug. And I'm not saying like, oh, they have to be like put on TV or hell, even Dashi's Ghetto Combat.
that's yeah. That's I think there's more people I know about that than know a lot. Most of the main stories.
I can tell you I watch those videos more than I have like played the game sometimes in the past few years.
Yeah.
But like I think I want to see more of that being done, which is something I do want to talk to you about later off air. But that's one of the lines I do want to see done more of
Okay.
because I feel like we do a lot. Hey, I keep saying we do a lot, but we don't. We don't do research. We don't plan things out. We are literally doing this on a Tuesday because we're both been busy the past couple of days. And I'm off on Tuesday, and you're about to go to sleep right after this. So, um, but no, but like I said, a lot of people do a lot, and I realize that animation is hard. That's kind of one thing I do want to do as well. I go and say I do want to start making like actual animation videos and posting that on the channel as well.
That'd be
I'm
really, really
still,
cool if we could be able to. We could probably figure it out too.
oh yeah,
It'd be difficult, but we could probably figure something out.
oh yeah, for sure. And that's what I just think like that's what I guys gonna be surprised. Well, it's gonna be still surprised. I'm trying to work on a couple other things. I'll tell you what those things are later.
Okay.
But I think that's what I do want to look forward to within 2020 and 2021 to at least learn how to do animations on my computer, and after doing that as well, start um, start posting them on the channel
That'd be
and
pretty fucking
doing
cool
things.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like you know, it's like people, we say it now. You told me that and some people out here like, oh, that's a four, that's so big. Like, no, but like when the past recent times we've been posting, actually making videos, like you said, we've gotten some subscribers behind us now, and that I mean, like I said, I'm all cool for it, like I said, but we never did this for subscribers or like getting paid because well, you don't make money off of YouTube. That's just impossible nowadays.
Yeah, pretty
But
much. Yeah. Unfortunately.
but I do want to start doing more things as well because I want to just do more things to do talent. I want to do animations, like especially more comic animations. If I didn't want to do it just because I want to do it. Yeah, it's expensive, and we put my own money into it. But it's like I'm doing it because I enjoy it, not because I'm trying to make money off of it.
Yeah, if we were trying to make money off of it, then we would be doing something very different. We would be just cheesing. We'd be making up a bunch of bullshit, clickbait constantly. We would basically be Dynasty. But,
I mean,
we.
some people thought we did that when we didn't do a reaction video to a trailer. I'm like, we can't. First of all, we are what is it 7 hours apart?
Yeah, no, yeah, I think it's 7. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 hours apart, and it's like you want us to find a video, hold on to the video, talk to each other. Like, all right, are you ready to watch the video at the same time? Yeah. And one of us has to record, one of us won't. And the past, like when we first started, there was always one thing or another going wrong, personal or technical wise.
Yeah. Which by the way, last week there was an issue. I don't know if you saw it. Like your audio didn't pop up for the first 2 minutes, so I do want to go ahead and apologize for, and you guys that were listening to that episode. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Honestly, it's just like out of nowhere, your audio started popping up again in the feed. I don't know. According to my OBS, everything was working fine, but it just doesn't. No audio comes through for the first 2 minutes. But other than that, so far it's been working pretty well lately. Everything's been going better for us. Knock on wood. So I think we can build ourselves some projects for the next couple of years, and hopefully we can start bringing some some high quality stuff in here in different ways than what we have been so far.
Like I said, I don't want to be the people that do all reaction videos. And like,
Yeah, it's pretty
so
played out.
I don't know that it gives reactions because I enjoy watching some people's reaction on things as well because not because I want to watch the show for free or watch a video for free, but legitimately, people's commentary is fucking hilarious. I mean, one group of people I do like to watch reaction of is called Married to the Real, and it's like these people are fucking hilarious. Okay, I'm not sure. Do you have the? This is completely off topic as well, but you have the DC Universe app.
No, I don't.
All right, I do. There's a show. Harley Quinn has a show on there, new show, and nothing against Harley Quinn. I didn't think I was gonna watch it as much, but I said, "Oh, I'll give it a shot." And I'm gonna put it like this: the beginning of the episode, the first line is this: "My fellow whites."
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a white guy on a yacht with other white people. In it. So, said my fellow whites. I'm like, okay, this is how we're starting. I'm really into this already now.
All right. That's an interesting way to kick it off.
That's literally the first line, dude.
Man, they're going for
But
the edgy side of things now.
all right, so what's your number one?
All right, my number one, and I think it's the number one question on pretty much everybody's mind is what kind of direction are they going to take for the main series in terms of story? Like, where the hell are they going to go? Like, there's no indication that it's going to go in any way, any direction in particular, but which way are they going to go? And I think one of the main reasons why I picked this is because yes, I'm curious, but every once in a while I go to a game store here nearby, and I've talked to a few people there because I guess they see my posts on Instagram and stuff like that, and they see that I do a podcast, and so they kind of all ask me the same exact thing. And it's always, what are my thoughts on how MK11 ended and what's up for the future? So I think that I'm interested to see this, not just because me personally, I am curious, but because, it's a pretty big topic among people that actually aren't even Mortal Kombat fans. They're just kind of, they can be casuals as well. And they see this and they see the apparently endless possibilities in terms of what they can actually do. And they're interested, and I feel the same way. So I think that's kind of what is really intriguing me the most right now with Mortal Kombat.
Right.
I know,
Yeah,
I
I
know,
can see that.
sorry, I know it's kind of simple and that it's kind of played out, but that's just honestly, that's just how I feel. Like that's really the interesting thing for me for Mortal Kombat right now.
No, I get that too. No, my biggest thing said we I think we've been this we game already. Like personally, this is why I don't say there's not much to talk about on this topic. I think we've been this with like a dead horse already
Yeah,
on our last couple of videos, and even before that, as we like alluded to, but just never got into detail. Um, right now there's two. I do want to know what happens next. I mean, is it going to be another reboot, which we talked about that before the reboot of the reboot to reboot the first reboot, or is it going to be like, all right, let's just like start off from scratch, brand new story, start off from the beginning, not just from the first tournament. There's a lot of options, and I get that as well, and that's why I'm just more the lines of what I do agree. Like I do want to see what happens next, but right now I think I kind of do I want a break, and like no, let's let them take a break from Mortal Kombat, and let them get their shit together, get all their heads straight, take a vacation, do what they need to do, and come back with fresh eyes or fresh new things to bring to the product.
yeah, that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. I mean, these poor bastards have been, especially like Ed Boon, been doing Mortal Kombat pretty much the same thing over and over again for 27 years now, something like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's about time for these guys to take a prolonged break and do something different, like start a different IP. Because if you think about it, like really, Injustice is just DC characters, basically the same thing as Mortal Kombat, just without fatalities and with slightly different mechanics. So it'd be kind of interesting to see them actually take a completely different direction. Try expanding into different genres and try something different, and then go back to Mortal Kombat, gain some experience in different things, and then go back to Mortal Kombat. Midway back in the day, they used to develop a huge amount of genre games. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't just all Midway only makes Mortal Kombat or Midway only makes this. They made a shit ton of different things on different types. They also made like pinball machines. They made a bunch of different stuff. So I feel like
Oh, this is too. It's not like Mortal Kombat doesn't have. I mean, yeah, it was with Midway at the time, but it's not like they don't have practice with other games because there's Motor Combat, there was Puzzle Combat. Now, granted, you can make a whole game off those morals, but maybe you can make. I think you could really make. They can make a game sell it for $30. There's some people that's not a lot, but it's like you can make a game with all these Mortal Kombat mini games.
man, I honestly like that's something I would absolutely buy. I mean, if you just let's take into consideration here that Crash Racing, whatever it's called, Crash Bandicoot Racing, that shit came out and it was one of the most trending games on Twitch for like a couple of weeks. If that, and I get that's a lot of nostalgia, but I feel like I played that game at a friend's house, and the game is absolutely atrocious. So if they make something like you mentioned, with Motor Combat, with Puzzle Combat, with Chess Combat, if they add all those, but they really make them, if they really flesh them out and they really make them solid modes with a lot of replayability and give you real reasons to go and play them, then they can absolutely sell that for $30, and it's a good way for them to do something different within maybe the same universe, but without having just do the consistent, we need to make these fatalities, we need to, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing, and I'm assuming that after a certain amount of times you do the same thing, or at least you have to go through the same system, it probably just becomes more of like, let's just go ahead and go through the motions, as opposed to a really passionate project. You know what I'm saying? I could be off on that. I don't personally know any of the developers, of course, but that's just kind of the impression I get from them when they talk and the way things have kind of gone with the game.
Right. No, I agree, and that's why I said I want to. I mean, even if they get something like that, like I said, they don't have to just stop at those three games. And they can take as long as time they need to as well, but maybe do something like another Shaolin Monks, for example. Everyone wants something similar like that, like you said already.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be off of those stories. You can do the Conquering of Virginia. You can do the very first Mortal Kombat tournament. You can do so much with those games, with all the stuff you have. You just have to do it. But I mean, they can make new games. Like you guys can be creative, and not everything has to just be fights. I mean, look at Test Your Luck. Somehow that was a game everyone loves, and they try to recreate it, but it went from being like I recreated for MKX, for example, which it wasn't bad. Actually, I did like it as well, but it wasn't the same either. So it ended up being like more of consumables, like. Well, no, so MK11, I think it's like they take an idea and it's really good, and they just like downgrade it and water it down more to the point where it's like, all right, this is not even fun anymore. So, like, Test Your Luck. It was literally a roulette style game. Like, you would, not roulette, I don't know
A
if it
slot
was
machine type thing?
slot machine, yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was. And you pull it, you get if you're playing by yourself, they pick your character. Then it picks literally up to 7 different modifiers to the game, which can either hurt you or benefit you, all
Mm-hmm.
depending on how you actually play the game. Now, then they went to MKX, where it was a watered down of it was like it had certain things still, but it ended up being watered down to the fact that it's like all the characters that you want to be in the game are now officially not in the game, pretty much. Then Injustice 2 happened, where they didn't have consumables, but they had like the interactive. We had like the character comes in, fight, do a couple of things, and go away.
Yeah.
And then they just went to complete consumables, where like everything's a buff for you. That's all, and like it helps you win. Like yeah, but it's not that it's not a challenge. It's like it's not the same as what Test Your Luck was before. Like they have lightning in a bottle, and they don't seem to wait to like to do it again the right way. But like I said, hopefully this time off teaches them a couple new things that they can learn from.
That's pretty much all we can hope for, I guess, at this point.
Hmm.
Hopefully they take this break and they use it in the right way. Anyway, so what's your number
Yeah.
one? Which I already know what it is, but for the fans, for our friends.
Okay. Hmm. No. I definitely say number one is something that got announced this past week. But I don't think anyone's going to stop at that. Like I said, it goes back to what I said earlier, like other like more passion projects or more projects that need to be done with Mortal Kombat. So as we already know, there's a movie coming out, a live action movie, which hasn't been done since Legacies, which is a dark past we don't want to talk about again. And we already, like I said, we already beat that with a dead horse. But what threw me off guard again, because I know it was mentioned last year, but I forgot. Um, but what it is that an animated Mortal Kombat movie was announced for the early half of 2020. So that's coming out soon. And I think, like I said, I didn't realize how much I actually wanted that until I realized not only A, who's behind it, but also someone, I think it was History Behind the Warrior, but we haven't had a Mortal Kombat animation anything. No, it was Russ. We haven't had Mortal Kombat animation anything since the. Oh, maybe it have been History Behind the Warrior. I don't know. It's one of those two. But the whole point is we haven't had an animation anything from Mortal Kombat since. All right, realistically, since everything on YouTube, but also before, like made by Mortal Kombat people. Um, what is it? Oh, Defenders of the Realms,
It's been a while for sure, and that definitely wasn't high quality.
1996.
Yeah.
So that's over 2 decades that we haven't had anything animated. And I'm looking at the people who are behind you as well, actors, and then um, actor wise, and I think the producer or director, or there's a few. I think this is the producer. He was on multiple DC projects before, not the live action animated movies, but those movies goes from Aquaman, the Aquaman movie they did for him, um, Flashpoint. Um, there's just a lot. Justice League War. But he was, and all those movies, all animated movies they do, anything animated that DC does is always good, really. The other guy, I think he was the storyline project. He was on art projects. He was on like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, and Young Justice. So and then the actors we have as well, and this is just a few. I'm going only three, because those are the only three I really know. Um, Steve Bloom is coming back as Sub Zero. Patrick Sykes is coming back as Scorpion. And the person playing Katana isn't Katana, the one we know for alongside Karen Stratham, but it's even better in my eyes a little bit. I'm kind of interested how she does. And she's known for playing Catwoman a lot, but she was also because she was on After the Last Airbender as Azula. That's one of my favorite villains ever. But the movie's called Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge, and I think we already know what the movie's gonna be about. Like that much is obvious at this point, but it's just like I am interested to seeing like if this actually is a good movie, if they're gonna make more of these as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Like, this is looking like it has the potential of being the best Mortal Kombat media to have come out in a very long time. I mean, like you said, man, Warner Brothers puts out great content. Recently, I watched the Batman Red Hood. I watched
Hmm.
um, I watched a different one. The hell was it? It was I can't remember the name of it. It was one of the more obscure ones. It was a pretty old one. But yeah, I mean, like everything they put out is pretty damn good. No complaints here. So I'm excited about this. It kind of came out of nowhere for me personally. And yeah, the fact that it's coming out this soon is only a positive. I don't know if it's going to be in theaters here in Italy. I don't know if it's even going to be in theaters in the U.S. I would assume so.
No,
No, it's going to be
I would doubt it because first of all, there's been no hype for it to come out in the next 6 months. Well,
yeah,
in the next 6 months, I doubt it's going to be in movie theaters.
yeah,
But
that's fair play.
usually those movies are like straight to DVD
Yeah.
or Blu-ray, which isn't a problem. But it's really like they have to still hype it up on some level. Then
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, man, I'll be watching that for sure. Maybe we'll watch it together if we can figure it out to work it out to where I'm not gonna fall asleep and maybe you won't fall asleep depending on whatever time we can figure it out. But I think we'll figure something out, and that's gonna be something we'll definitely be talking about quite a bit on this channel. Yeah, that's definitely a fair thing. Like I would have definitely put on my list if I had known that it was gonna be on yours. So fair play to you. I think like honestly, I think the six things we put down, I think they pretty much would fit in anybody's list. So I think we did a pretty good job here. I think we're gonna wrap this up unless you have any final thoughts.
nope, I'm done with mine.
All right, so guys, like we were saying, this is gonna be a shorter one because where we just kind of have to slide these things in, pause when we have time because I work now. I work early mornings, and it's just a matter of us finding the perfect time. So we will be recording this weekend for sure, and we will be covering some other topics that we mentioned previously. MK4 and some of our favorite moments, I guess you can kind of say, from 2019 in terms of Mortal Kombat. So plenty of stuff is coming. I definitely think I speak for both of us when I say I appreciate every single one of you guys who's been subscribing and has really been showing a lot of interest, in particular in our first thoughts about the Mortal Kombat movie, the live action one. So thank you so much to every single one of you guys who's been commenting, subscribing, and just kind of hanging out with us and listening to our content. So guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Later.
See you guys.